Stay tuned for Airgun Detectives.
Welcome to another episode of Airgun Detectives. Today we're going to take the mystery out of the new Xisico 705. This is the deluxe model. Before we get started on this, do me a favor if you hadn't already. Hit the little subscribe button down there. More subscribers, the better. Like to see some feedback. If you guys like what we're doing, please throw me a thumbs up. If you'd like to be notified every time I come out with a new video, just hit that little bell right there. And please check out my website at www.airgundetectives.com. See the little lowercase? It looks like a lowercase I. If you put your cursor over the screen anytime, a little lowercase I will pop up in the corner. You can click on it. It'll take you right to the website. So anyway, let's talk about our new Sentry here. First of all, let's remind you what the other one looks like, the original. And I did a complete review on this. So here's the original Sentry. Short barrel. You had your standard 1/8 inch fill probe on the front here, as you can see. You had your gauge right here on the bottom. And it was bolt action right here. So you got a bolt action. No suppressor on it. And that was your setup. So now the new one, and I got a treat for you, because we're gonna do both the .177 and the 22 caliber. So the new one now has a side lever action. It's as simple as that. Yes, and you can still decock it. Has a side lever action rather than the bolt, so it's much easier to cock. It's got a much longer barrel on it now. It actually comes with a suppressor on it, and we have a larger fill tube. So this is more of a serious performing PCP rifle. So longer barrel, larger capacity fill tube, side lever action. And also this comes with actually a probe now that will go in here. It's got your standard 1/8 on the end, so that's not a problem for any of your pumps or your standard fittings. But you just slide a probe into it, and it's that simple. And you fill it up. And now your gauge now is right here on the front of the gun. Okay, these come with a couple of multi-shot magazines. You'll get 9 shots out of the .177 out of that magazine, 8 shots out of the 22, and they do make a 25 caliber, and you're going to get 7 shots out of that. Performance, what are they claiming on this new one? They're claiming that the .177 you can get up to about 1,000 feet per second on high power. The 22 you get right around the 900 foot per second on the full power setting. And there is a full power setting on this one as well. If you want to look right here is where your gauge is, and you just rotate this little wheel in the back to determine where your setting is on the side. Now keep in mind these are non-regulated, but you still get a good shot count out of them. They're claiming out of the .177 you can get close to 180 shots on one fill. Now we're going to look at this and we're going to see on that fill curve where our best shot groups are going to be. The 22, they're saying we get about 150 shots. Now, who features these specifically is our friend Mike Millick at Flying Dragon Airguns. So keep in mind, I'm not getting paid as an endorsement out of this. These are just great products, once again, that I just want to bring to you. But we also have a 22 caliber. And let me slide this up here for you. The cool thing, if you notice these cool scopes, Mike at Flying Dragon Airgun sells these scopes as well, and you would be surprised how reasonable they are. They're rec scopes. This is a side focused one. This one here is a bubble level lit one. So you'd be surprised. They're not designed for break barrels. They're designed for like a CO2 rifle or a PCP rifle, but you wouldn't believe how reasonable they are. So anyway, these are our 2 new rifles. So let's go out and see how well they perform. And then we're going to come back and we're going to talk about them. So let's go from there. All right, stay tuned for the next segment. Okay, let's test the velocity on this. We're going to do it with 2 separate pellets. I'm going to first just do it with a 7.0 grain, so you can kind of get a feel what a high velocity is on this with a lead pellet. And then I'm going to go through and shoot 5 more with the most accurate pellets. That way we can tell you what the accurate foot-pounds of energy is. So let's see what we got here. All right, shot number 1. 1132. Shot number 2, 1129. Shot number 3, 1125. Shot number 4, 1124. One more. I guess I'm out. So anyway, 1124. So you see what the average is there? Let's move on and go with the heavier pellets and see how well we do there. All right, now 5 shots. Hopefully we got 5 here. I got enough pellets in here. With the 10.35. Let's see where we're at there. Okay, shot number 1. 994. Shot number 2. 992. Shot number 3. 999. Shot number 4. 1002. And shot number 5. That's going up a little bit on our power curve. That's what happens on the PCPs. All right, so there's your average feet per second and your foot-pounds of energy. Let's try our velocity on our 22 caliber Sentry Deluxe. 2 pellets do the best in this thing. We've got the field target trophies, the 14.66, and then we also have the jumbo, the JSB Exact Diablos, and they are the 18.13 grain. Those are the 2 best pellets, so I'm going to give you 5 shots with each, and we'll show you what type of velocity we get out of these. All right, so let's start with our field target trophy. All right, shot number 1. 987. Shot number 2. 990. Shot number 3. 991. Shot number 4. 993. And shot number 5. 991 again. Okay, let's try our 18.13 and let's see how well those do. We saw that's pretty amazing foot-pounds of energy. So let's try the 18.13s. These guns are not overly pellet picky, but let's try the heavier pellets, see what type of velocity we get. And we'll just do 5 shots with this one. All right. 921. Wow. 920. Shot number 3. 921. Shot number 4. 918. And shot number 5. 921 again. Wow. What a great standard deviation there. And look at the foot-pounds of energy we're getting out of those 18.13 grains. Pretty amazing. All right, let's move on to the next segment. All right, let's do a little testing of our accuracy here on our Sentry Deluxe. And we're going to be shooting the 10.35 grain JSB pellets. They seem to do the best. But let's just shoot 5 shots and see what type of grouping we get. All right. Let's do one more. Wow. Pretty impressive. Look at that group. 20 yards out. Anyway, let's move on to the next segment. All right, now we're going to test the 22 caliber Deluxe and see what type of grouping we can get. The wind really came up. It's really windy, so I'm hoping that this will work out all right. We're going to shoot, because of the wind, we're going to shoot the heavier pellets, the 18.13 JHBs. And let's see what type of grouping we got. I'll just shoot 5 shots. We're usual, 20 yards. Take a quick look. And let's just see how well this thing groups. All right. Get set up here. That's one. I'm not using the wind as an excuse, but it is windy. That's 2. Three. 4. And one more. 5. Yeah, 4 went through the same hole. I might have flinched on the 1, but geez, these things are accurate. I'm telling you, unbelievable. So you see how well we did there. And let's move on to the next segment. Okay, let's do a quick trigger test on our Deluxe here and see how we do. This is right out of the box. Haven't changed the spring, haven't done anything to it. So let's just see what type of trigger weight we got. Okay, 2 pounds and 5/10 of an ounce. So it's about a 2-pound trigger out of the box. All right, let's see what type of pull weight we get on our 22 caliber. You saw the .177. This one, and I changed out the spring. Easiest trigger job you could ever do as far as lightening it up. I just used a spring from a ballpoint pen. It's very, very easy to change. There's only one bolt. You pull the bolt out of the back of the trigger housing. Pull the other spring, the stock spring out, drop the new spring in, put the bolt back in, you're done. Literally a 5-minute job. So let's see what the difference is on this one. Okay. £1 pound, 7 ounces. 1 pound, 7 ounces. Doesn't take much to lighten these things up. They're so easy to work on. The guns overall are really easy to work on. But anyway, let's move on to our next segment. All right, my favorite part, the plinking. We're going to use a 22 caliber because it is so windy today. I apologize, but I haven't had much time to do any filming and had rain on both sides. We expected a whole week's worth of rain. So it's the best I can do. I got a 20-mile-an-hour plus wind coming up at my back and a crosswind. So I'm going to do the best we can. We're going to shoot out 40 yards. Here's our usual distance. Take a look. You see the little objects, little white egg up there, like a little chrome. Looks like, I don't even know what it is. Red egg. But whoa, are we getting some gust of winds. Anyway, let's just see how well we do. I'm going to try to take out these targets. We're going to use the JSB 18.13s. We need the heavy pellets with this type of wind. So let's see how we do. All right. Start with the shotgun shell on the very left side. It's definitely a hit. I'm going to do the shotgun shell on the right side of the egg. All right. So now let's get rid of that chrome pipe. All right. Now how about let's go back to that white egg. Wow, this thing hits hard. This thing hits just amazing. Now the red egg. And let's take our little pig out. Wow. Pretty impressive, especially, I'm telling you, you guys could grasp the idea of how windy it is right now. But this thing performed just really, really well. Okay, let's move on to the next segment. We'll wrap this up. Okay, let's wrap up our review here with our conclusion. I can tell you these were a lot of fun to shoot. They really were. And I got a lot of information to share with you guys. So, again, these are the new version. And just so you know, these new versions, they run about $315, right around there. And they still do carry Flying Dragons, that is. Mike Millick, he still does carry the original, the Xisico, the Sentry, the shorter barrel one. But these ones, in my opinion, are just a lot better. You've got this larger fill tube. You have the silencer on this, little longer barrel. Got a little increased velocity. I do want to show you guys a couple things. To fill these things, it's very, very, very easy. You just open the little probe up here. Hopefully we got the whole set here, right? You just open up this little opening for the probe, I should say. And then you just slide the little probe right in, just like that. And it's got your standard 1/8, and then you just pump it up, pull it out, close it. So this is your standard little, if you can see that there, it's your standard little 1/8 fitting on the end, and then you have your probe on this side. So it's a really simple process. And I didn't show you guys, but the magazines on these things are really, really easy to load. They're probably one of the easier loading magazines. You basically just drop a pellet in it, and turn it and turn it. No, none of that putting in a pellet backwards and doing all that tough stuff. So you drop one pellet in, you turn it, you drop the next, you drop the next, you drop the next, you drop the next. Full magazine, and you just put it in the gun, which is great. You just slide it right on in. They just slide in just like that. And yes, this again can be decocked. Just hold your finger down and slide this forward. The side lever is just awesome. You saw me shooting it. And you see how quick you can shoot these things. Really, really quick. So let's talk a little bit about our performance. Oh, not to mention, these are a standard 3,000 PSI fill, in case I didn't cover that. So you just fill it to 3,000 PSI. So you saw the performance on these things. Oh, not to mention, guys, the adjustable cheek rest is still here. Okay, so we got that. So in our .177, let's talk about the performance on that. We got a high of 1,132 feet per second. That was a 7-grain pellet. And then we got a high of 1,006 feet per second with a 10-grain pellet. And that's around 23 foot-pounds of energy. For a .177, that's pretty impressive. The 22 caliber, on the other hand, we got a high of 993 feet per second, and that was with our 14.66 field target trophy pellet. When we went up with the 18.13, we got a high of 921 feet per second. That was 34 foot-pounds of energy. So depending on the pellet, we either got 32 foot-pounds of energy with a little bit lighter pellet, and the heavier pellet, we got 34 foot-pounds of energy, which is amazing. Let's talk about accuracy. Whew. These are off the chart as far as accuracy goes. Let's talk about the .177. You saw the grouping on that. I mean, just take a look at that again. That is so small, is unbelievable. And then the 22 caliber, I was shooting that, and it was a pretty high wind. We still got really good accuracy, but let me show you, I want to show you some targets that I shot with both the 18.13 and the 14.66 at 20 yards with no wind. Take a look at these. Unbelievable. You're talking 0.19 of an inch. 0.19 of an inch. Unbelievable. And both pellets, they perform the same. Look at both of the targets there. So the accuracies on these guns are just off the chart. And the heavier pellet will obviously work better in the wind, and that's why we went to that. But either pellet you'd be good to go with. So let's talk a little bit about performance as far as shots go. Anytime you have a PCP, remember these are non-regulated. There's a power curve. So you need to find that sweet spot where you get the most consistent shots. So when you fill these, the 3,000 PSI, I'll talk about the .177. You fill it to 3,000 PSI. The first few shots, 3 or 4 shots, are going to be a little bit lower velocity. But then you hit that sweet spot, just right below that 3,000 PSI. So you're going to get around 900 foot per second with a 10-grain pellet. It's going to be in that 900. Your standard deviation is going to be very close. And you're going to get 9 solid magazines out of that. So you're going to get 9 magazines of consistent 900 feet per second. So really, really accurate. And then when you get down to about 1,800 PSI, it's going to start to drop a little, all the way down to 1,000 PSI, which you'll get about 750 feet per second. So when we're talking about the sweet spot, we're talking about 80 really good, consistent shots. So basically one right on top of the other. So, but you can really shoot this gun from like 3,000 PSI all the way down to 1,200. I would recommend you shooting it from about 3,000 down to 1,800 if you want absolute precise rounds. But if you're plinking in the backyard, you can take it all the way down to 1,200. You're still going to get about 750 feet per second. And then that all depends too. Remember, these have the power adjustment. So I was testing everything on number 5, full power. So you could actually back the power off on these and get a lot more shots. And that's something you would just have to play with. And depending on the weight of the pellet would be how much power you want to put behind this. So that's what's great about this. It has a power adjustment. So anyway, the 22 caliber, that performed just a little bit different. So when we filled that up to 3,000 PSI, you would get the roughly in the 900 feet per second, all with a 18 grain pellet. Because think about it, between the 18 grain pellet and the 14.66, we're talking about 70 feet per second difference. So anyway, with the 18 grain ones, when we tested this, from 3,000, you could go all the way down to about 1,700 PSI, and you would get about 8 really good magazines of shots, okay? So what is that, about 60 plus shots, right around there, 64 shots, and it actually got a couple more. So right around the 60 shot range for the 22 caliber if you wanted really consistent shots on that power curve. So like I said, you still could shoot this all the way down. This one also down to about 1,300 PSI. You're just going to have those last few magazines are just going to be a much lower velocity. However, still plenty of plinking power. So for a non-regulated PCP, these things are really frugal. You get a lot of shots out of them, which you gotta like. Couple other things. The trigger on this, if you notice the difference between, I tested the .177 and then the 22 caliber trigger. The only reason they were different is I put in a different spring in these, and I can show you guys a picture of that. Just go in there and there's a little Allen screw that you take out. The spring pops out, you drop a new spring in. It's that simple. And I basically used a spring from a ballpoint pen, and it dropped the weight on that trigger. So what a great little package. You have to admit, these are a good looking gun. They really are. And don't forget, these optics are terrific. They really are. Mike sells these at Flying Dragons as well, and very, very, very reasonably priced. So overall, I really don't have much negatives with this thing at all. I really don't. Because think about this. This is 315 bucks, so right around a $300 price tag. You get a lot of PCP rifle for this. You get outstanding performance. You got that incredible foot-pounds of energy, all with a nice little package. And then you got the nice little stock, the wood stock on this thing. And I love the way they set up all these Picatinny rails so you can put your little bipod on there or whatever else you want. So I'm gonna have to give these 5 stars. They deserve 5 stars. The accuracy, performance, the fact they're frugal with the air as far as the PCP charge goes. I mean, for a 3,000 PSI PCP rifle, you do get quite a few shots out of this. If you guys are interested in these guns, give Mike a call or check out his website at Flying Dragon Airguns. If you do mention Airgun Detectives or I sent you, he's going to give you a little bit of a discount, and that's just a favor to our viewers. I don't get compensated at all for this. I just asked him, hey, if our Airgun Detective subscribers want to deal with you, he goes, absolutely. So just mention something, he'll give you a little discount. But with that, don't forget, Mike gives you his personal recommendations. He can fully tune these, adjust these. I showed you what the optimum performance was in these, but you can match that. So give Mike a call at Flying Dragon Airguns, and he'll probably set you up with one of these. But I'm extremely impressed. So again, thank you for tuning in to Airgun Detectives. I appreciate it. This is where we take the mystery out of the airgun. And until next time, take care and be safe.